Hampton officially on the shuttle, headed to not the moon. I have moon in the graphic. I have moon in the title. I have moon in every other place. But actually, where he's headed is somewhere farther than the moon. It's not
to the moon.
Not the moon.
To Mars.
It's not
To Saturn.
It's
The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large.
The Saturn men.
It is Saturn.
One small step for man, one giant leap for...
Okay, he's on the Saturn board, not the Jupiter board. But neither here nor there. We might move him to Jupiter, to be honest. I think he probably deserves to be on Jupiter. Maybe that's the whole point. Maybe my gut is telling me to move him boards. But he's on the Saturn board.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Spaceman.
The Fantasy Football Show. The Hampton Kyler Murray trade potential show. The Travis Hunter, it's not for sure, but the thinking is that he's going to play more DB than wide receiver, something that's been rumored, but we didn't have any evidence of it until now. But now it looks like there is more thinking, at least it's coming from ESPN. Nothing's locked in yet. Let's wait for Liam Cohen to officially tell us, but start preparing for less offense for Hunter, which is a travesty and I think a big mistake, to be honest. That show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know where my Triple H and Associate board. I'm pressing the button and it's not calling the... I don't know what in the hell is going on here. Let me just test out, see what's broken. Because I right now I feel really ill-equipped right now, not being able to punch the Triple H and Associate board. Let's see if we can find it. I don't know. It might be gone. I might have to recreate it. Unbelievable. Sometimes things get lost and deleted when you're cleaning up. The Triple H and Associate board is gone. It's gone. We'll create a new one. Anyway, Hampton to the moon. Kyler Murray. Your boy's a little sick today too. So just let you know, I haven't been sick in over a year. It's been over a year that I've gotten a cold or a flu and if you guys kind of remember, like over the previous years, I always get sick. The kids bring home the Black Plague, and I get it every time. Then when we get over that, they bring home something else, and I'm constantly, because I'm in this box. I'm in this studio all the time. I go get food. That's about my exposure to germs and the outside world. And I always get their colds. I always get everything. But I haven't for like a year. I've been an absolute superhuman. And all of a sudden now your boy's gotten whatever that's going around. Feel awful. I'm here for you anyway, though. We don't shut down the show. Like, what am I, a moron? What do I look like, an a-hole? Think I'm not going to come to work because I'm sick? We might not go as long. I can't guarantee the midnight stream, but I'm going to try. And that's the way we operate over here. So hopefully we get back on track soon. I have a feeling this is the beginning of it, though, because I feel bad. But it usually gets a little worse than this for me. So I have a feeling I'm going to get a little bit more sick. But we'll be here. We'll be here at least at the 8 p.m. show, and I'm going to try and go live tonight. Let's go over this news real quickly. Mike McDaniel officially hired as the head coach, which is why... hired as the OC of the Chargers. So Miami Mike now becomes Malibu Mike for official purposes. That is his new name, Malibu Mike. New offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. That's fantastic.
Let him cook.
That's why we're here celebrating Hampton, if you're wondering why Hampton's going to the moon again. Well, he's going to the moon again because, this was an announcement. Then we had word that he's going to go looking for a head coaching job still. even though he was, ready to go as a OC. So we'll have to figure out, we'll have to figure out what's what in terms of the values of everybody. Let's start off with Hampton and just say this, Achane was the tool that Mike used for a lot of his wide back architecture of an offense and the explosiveness, the playmaker, the PPR work, the joker role, if you will. Sean Payton and Mike McDaniel both used their pass catcher tool differently than most players. So this is Mike McDaniel having another pass catching monster running back in Hampton, very capable of being a top 5 PPR back even outside of Mike McDaniel's control. But Malibu Mike is going to turn Hampton into at least a mini Achane. We have to be careful not to say, oh, well, it's going to be the exact same thing that we just saw over in Miami. So Achane and Hampton, we're just going to swap stats. It doesn't necessarily work like that. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have, a near Achane-esque type year for Hampton. Hampton's certainly going to be capable of pulling in Achane-esque numbers. But keep in mind that Deebo Samuel, who was the first player to benefit from the architecture of offense by Miami Mike McDaniel, or then San Francisco Mike McDaniel, he ran everything through his wide receiver, and he created the wide back role. So Mike McDaniel, in unison with Kyle Shanahan, created the wide back role, which was essentially, a lot of people got confused about it because he ended up playing running back that year too, because all the running backs got injured. And so he lined up in the backfield, took carries as a running back. And so people they conflated everything and started to think that wide back meant that the running back, the wide receiver, is going to play running back. That's not the case. That ended up him being a running back the same year he was a wide back. Wide back is essentially out wide. Basically a running back out wide. You're essentially saying, hey, here's the football. You're on the line of scrimmage or slightly behind. And as soon as I snap it, I get it to you. And now you become a running back at the line of scrimmage out wide back. So Deebo went to the moon that year. Absolutely phenomenal season. He was one of the best receivers in the league. He had an unreal year. Deebo to the moon that year, not now. So Achane, Miami Mike goes over to Miami, and essentially we think Tyreek Hill is going to go to the moon the same way that Deebo did, but he used Achane instead. And so my point being that we don't know what Mike's going to do over in LAC, but I do believe that the makings of this situation, it's not going to be Gadsden that he's making his wide back. It's not going to probably be all Ladd McConkey, but it might be a combination of Ladd McConkey, Hampton, and Gadsden that he fully utilizes and weaponizes to be way more explosive than they should be, because they're getting all kinds of Mike McDaniel architecture and wide back love. So I'll say this, while Achane probably would do better than Hampton in Mike McDaniel's system overall, I think Hampton is going to still rush the football more than Achane would, and maybe catch a little less than Achane would. So the yardage could maybe even out. Hampton could easily be capable under Mike McDaniel a potential 14, 15 touchdown season. Like, Hampton's got that kind of upside under Mike's control. So let's give him 14, 15 total touchdowns. Let's give him 1,200 yards, 700 receiving, 650. It doesn't have to be 800, 900. It doesn't have to be 100 receptions. It can be 65, 70 receptions, 550, 600 yards, and 1,100, or 1,090 on the ground, or 1,100 on the ground. Hampton's going to run a little more than Achane, but it's still a very, very comparable player in terms of skill set and likelihood to produce under McDaniel's system and his wide back intentions and architecture. Hampton's going to the mother freaking moon.
To the moon.
Not the moon. No, not Mars.
To Saturn.
To Saturn. I apologize. To Saturn. His value's going up regardless, however way you want to twist it or pretend he's going to be Achane or a little different than Achane or a combination of Deebo and Achane, whatever you want to put out there. But this is where it gets interesting still, is I think Ladd McConkey becomes one of the more underrated risers in fantasy football 2026. No one's saying go draft him in the 3rd round or anything crazy like that, but early underdog ADP has him going a lot higher than I expected. Like 5th, 4th, 5th round, like it's pretty high. I think he'll be a marvel under McDaniel. I think Malibu Mike is going to turn Ladd McConkey. This is why I say not all of it's going to be on Hampton. He's going to turn this guy into a little bit of a Deebo Samuel. There's so many weapons here. Malibu Mike. It's going to take some getting used to. Malibu Mike has weapons. He also has an offensive line that was injured and ravaged with injuries last year that we haven't fully seen, its full potential. So I truly believe we're probably seeing a Ladd McConkey rise into wide receiver 1 territory, but do not pay that, because if it doesn't work out, if Ladd ends up failing, and he has failed, fantasy football owners, this past season was not what we wanted. And we didn't draft him. He was one of the biggest avoids on draft day, one of the biggest go-gets, I admit, and I was wrong on that, biggest go-gets at a discount, but it didn't cost you anything, so it wasn't really that big of a mess-up on my part, because I told you not to draft him. I said this is one of the most overdrafted players. Don't take him in the 2nd, 3rd round. People took him in the 2nd, 3rd round. They lost their leagues because of it. So when people were panicking week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, I did say, I went on record saying go buy him for pennies on the dollar, which didn't lose you a league, but it didn't land. I believe it will land this year. I believe that if the price is right, hopefully it is not overly, overly costly to the point where we can't even dabble in it, then that's going to be disappointing. But hopefully it's not that case. Hopefully we'll be able to get Ladd McConkey in a good enough amount of leagues that we can relish in the rise and glory of Ladd that we've been expecting to see. And I think it will end up coming to fruition this coming 2026 season. So everything's on the up, man. Ladd to the moon.
To the moon.
In fact, we can put Ladd on the moon right now.
The moon man. Dropping.
I think he's on the revenge tour, though. Yeah. So we'll decide. We'll decide if Ladd is going on the Moon Man list or not. He's certainly on the Revenge Tour board. So is Genty. Genty's on the Jupiter board as well. Herbert and Ladd on the Revenge Tour board, but we might see them both, or at least Ladd on the Moon Man list. We'll wait on that one. I remembered I did do that to make sure we have them on a board, but we'll see. I don't want to run out of spots. It's really early on. We keep throwing everybody on the board. We're gonna have some problems if we get to like March and all the boards are full. Kyler Murray, according to ESPN reporter, Kyler Murray, the price for his services starts with a 3rd round pick. Wow. If you're Minnesota, look, I understand. Like, Kyler Murray's been trash in Arizona, and I don't know, he might be trash somewhere else, but there's a couple coaches I can think of, Steichen in Indy, and that entire staff over in Minnesota, even though they've been struggling with J9, and you could say, oh, they're not that good. Remember that Steichen, when he moved from Philly, propping up Jalen Hurts, turning Jalen Hurts into a quarterback monster, comes over and messes up with AR5. And then now look what he does, Steichen with Danny Dimes in 2025. Unbelievable turnaround. Dable ended up propping up Josh Allen and helping make Josh Allen into the quarterback that he is. And then he screws up with Danny Dimes, who Steichen ended up fixing, but Dable couldn't. Such a confusing puzzle. But we saw Dable fail with Danny Dimes over and over. And then we thought maybe Dable isn't the quarterback whisperer. Maybe Shane Steichen isn't the quarterback whisperer. But it's not going to be 100%, right? So Danny Dimes didn't work for Dable, worked for Steichen. And then Dable brings in Jackson Dart, and Jackson Dart ends up being a great player. Like, he's going to be really, really good. So Dable and Steichen are very good. If you give Dable wherever he goes, Kyler, or you give Steichen Kyler, and I'm not saying they're going to go away from Danny Dimes. I'm just trying to tell you. An AR5 coming back from the dead, Skies, who knows? He'd be an interesting player to send over to Minnesota to give a fresh shot somewhere. I don't know. Maybe that's what happens. Everybody, Dable can't fix Dimes, but Steichen can fix Dimes. And maybe AR5 can't be fixed, but maybe Dable can fix AR5. Who knows, man? This cross streaming we got going on. But certainly interesting to think about Kyler over J9. Raise your hand in the chat if you'd rather. I'm not asking would you like Kyler. I'm asking you a specific question. Would you rather have Kyler Murray trying to throw to JJ or J9 throwing to JJ? Please give your answer in the chat. Type in Kyler or J9. So while you're about to tell me Kyler's trash, just remember the assignment. The assignment is there are a few quarterbacks available. Some teams have J9 and nothing else. Some teams need something like this. If the Raiders didn't have the number 1 overall pick, Kyler would also be a decent bet for the Raiders to try and attempt. Now they got Mendoza. They don't need him. Thank God. But Kyler Murray at least deserves a shot over J9. And so that's that, or at least bring him in and let J9 compete with him. But Kyler's going to take the job from him. Kyler's 1 year removed from everybody thinking he was going to be a top 5 monster. Let's remember that too. I'm not saying I want Kyler Murray in Arizona. I think Kyler Murray failed, but we're talking about a top 5 quarterback. 1 year ago, we all were sitting here going, Kyler is going to be amazing. He's going to be awesome. And he failed. And we're all upset about it. And we're all in our feelings about it. And I'm, living in Arizona, I can tell you, the Cardinal fans don't want Kyler back. Brissett's the guy. Brissett proved himself. Brissett needs to stay a starter in Arizona, but doesn't mean that Kyler can't be revitalized like Dimes was. Look, Danny Dimes is nothing. He was a nothing burger, and Steichen turned him around. Sam Darnold, not only did he get turned around in Minnesota, but he's been playing obviously good football over in Seattle, and he's not a marvel. He's not one of the best quarterbacks to play in the NFL right now, but he's playing and he can play, and he can play bad, but he can also play really good. Similar to Brock Purdy in some ways, system quarterback, but with the ability to play outside the system and be better than the system quarterback when he's on his game. Sam Darnold looks fantastic right now. Doesn't mean he's an elite quarterback, but he plays fantastic in this system. So Kyler Murray could be fantastic in the right system as well. But the crazy part is 3rd round pick. I can't imagine being able to test this theory out at the cost of a 3rd round pick. Like if I'm a coach like McVay and I've got Stafford, I'm going and getting Kyler preemptively for a 3rd round pick. Are you out of your mind? If I'm the Indianapolis Colts, as I just described, and I'm Shane Steichen, and I'm like, I think Dimes is coming back. We're going to go with Dimes. Let me go get Kyler for a 3rd round pick. This is a very, very cheap cost of entry. Kind of surprising if it's true. But Kyler could be out for a 3rd round pick, and there are teams that need quarterbacks. Plain and simple. This news is not great, but it is speculation still, according to ESPN. The Rocco, or whatever the hell his name is, believes. So this is one person that where there's smoke, there's fire, sure. But this is one person that believes early indications are that Travis Hunter is primarily going to be a cornerback. But I believe he's just getting off this piece of news that we already know and kind of drawing more of a conclusion to it. And because he works for ESPN, people are acting like it's an additional source or something new. We have heard Cohen himself give us a little bit of information. And I truly believe that's all this guy's doing is repurposing it. And because he's from ESPN, everybody thinks it's something new. Twice. I said that twice, didn't I? I never say things twice. I just reworded a little bit to kind of emphasize it. I'm sick, all right? Give me a break. You got some Dayquil in me? We're flying high. We're trying to get it done. We're trying to do work. We're trying to do it live. But Travis Hunter, I don't think that Cohen meant exactly the way that people are taking it either. I'm not saying that Travis Hunter won't be, mostly corner and then a little bit wide receiver. I'm not saying that that's not a possibility. But I also don't think Cohen meant exactly the way people are taking it, like where it's like the experiment's over and they're going to use him as a DB. He basically said, I want to use him as DB more. And I think a lot of people took that as a, he's definitely, going to play DB now and nothing else. I don't think that's what Cohen necessarily meant. I just think he meant, first of all, we want to get him on playing both ways a little bit more efficiently. We want him to be a DB. We're saturated in the wide receiver room. We're full. We've got 2 new faces in there. We've got new contracts. We got a lot of money invested into the wide receiver room while we awaited Hunter, getting healthy. So things have changed. The landscape has certainly changed, but I believe it's been taken a little bit out of context, and that this news isn't necessarily. We're just waiting on Cohen for a little bit more explanation. He did make it sound like DB was going to be heavily in the cards for Hunter, and that things didn't go as well as a wide receiver, and maybe he'll play less wide receiver. But that's about the extent of what Cohen said. And I think everybody else giving their own interpretation of it, and then posing it as if it's coming from Cohen or they have insider information, which they don't. Even this guy doesn't have insider information on it. The indications are the same indications that we got. The press conference, the conversation that Cohen had with the general public and the reporters. That's all that's out there. So don't buy too much. Like, don't be cutting Hunter in leagues where you don't get any defensive points or anything like that. Just kind of hang tight. See what happens. Keep in mind that he's still going to get on the field, and if he starts impressing, they could flip the switch at any moment. Remember, they drafted him as a wide receiver first. And remember that when things went awry and crap hit the fan, who was it that was going to get the wide receiver 1 overall treatment on the team? Who said he's going to get wide receiver 1 treatment now going forward, and then he got hurt? Cohen. So we got to keep in mind that it's a far cry from where they were going with him and where they went with him. And it's hard to imagine that even if, let's say, Cohen decides to give him 20% wide receiver work and then the rest of it he's playing D, if the playing defense doesn't work out exactly the way they want it, they're going to switch back and try him a little more offense. And keep in mind that if he has big plays and makes big plays, he's one switch flip away from them saying, we're going to give him more offense again. So if I see him cut, or I see people trying to trade him because they think they're going to have a 0 scoring wide receiver on their team, I'm willing to take the gamble that the situation changes. I don't even care if we walk into week 1 and they're like, he's going to play 10 snaps. And then everybody says, oh, this is it. It's over. It's gone. He's never going to play wide receiver again. I'm willing to wait it out at the cost of entry that they change their mind, because he is such a weapon. If he goes out there and makes huge plays, guess who's going to get more work? So I think there's 2 ways to look at this situation. Certainly isn't what you want to hear right now, no doubt about it. But I think that it could be being blown out of proportion. And even if it isn't, we might see things change. The landscape can change very, very quickly. Guys, thank you for being here. I'm sick, so I apologize. Don't even really know what I'm saying at this point. It's, when you're congested, you're sick, you're on, Dayquil, and you're floating outside of your body. I feel like I'm not even sitting down right now. I feel like I'm floating. And I feel like I know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say that anything I've said, disregard it. He dropped 7 new Moon Men today. I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and the Moon Man, Mars Man, and Jupiter boards are going to be full. And there's going to be players like Cortland Sutton and Romeo Dobbs on it. And I'm going to wake up and go, what in the hell did you let me do? No, I do think I'm coherent. I just don't know what I'm saying. It's all happening really quickly. So if you guys want to dial in, I don't know if the phone lines are working right now. We'll try it out. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Where's my Triple H and Associates board? That really frustrates me. How did that get deleted? I mean, I don't think I did it while I've been on Dayquil. It certainly could have. That could be why it happened. I'm looking for it. Triple H, where you at, Triple H? Man, that's disappointing. Although, we kind of need to redo it anyway. And, Travis Hunter probably will be removed from the firm, at least for the time being. Not that. Oh, wait, hold on. Is this it?
In a jam, call HHH and Associates.
Triple H and Associates. Locations on Earth and Jupiter.
I was able to recover it. But we do need to redo it anyway. So let's go back to that. Hold on. Let me just fix something. Triple H and Associates. Let's change this over here. And let me see. Hold on a second. trying to find it. I found it. I recovered it, but I need to put it where it needs to go. So we'll look for it real quickly. Hang tight. Let me just find it, and then let's redo this board a little bit. I hate to take off. I hate to do it. Here it is. I hate to take off our boy Hunter here, but we can always add him back. The firm can rehire him at any moment.
In a jam, call HHH and Associates.
Triple H and Associates. Locations on Earth and Jupiter.
So Travis Hunter, you're gonna be retired for right now. We'll just leave it like that for now. We can redo it later. But Hampton, crazy how these guys have all kind of jostled around, right? The number one Triple H and Associate player was Ibuka for majority of first half of the season. Hendy arrived, Harvey arrived. Now Hampton's the leader. They just keep fighting for the corner office, the window office. But anyway, rock out. You're live.
Yeah, when it comes to Hendy, if they don't use him right in the next game, what do you think his draft position would be?
Well, right now on Underdog, and the big board and little board are open. So if anybody wants to draft for 2026, you can already do it. It's awesome. Play 5, get 75. Underdog link is in the description of the video. Code Smitty does the same thing, but if you click the link in the description of the video, it will insert Code Smitty for you. They'll match your first deposit 50% all the way up to $1,000. So make sure you okay, Rock Out? You can match your first deposit 50% all the way to $1,000 and join and do a 2026 Underdog draft right now. They're called the Big Board and Little Board. Little Board's $3, the Big Board is $10. And the first place prize for the Little Board, I believe, is still $100,000. So draft right now. But on those early drafts, Rock Out, Hendy is gone at the 4-5 turn, sometimes going as late as 5.4 overall. And that's pretty damn good, man. That's really, really good. So I guess your question is if he bombs this week or Super Bowl week, what will happen to his ADP? I think it stays in the 5th round. I don't think it's 4-5 turn anymore. It becomes 5. Which is good. And that gives us like a mix of like, we're worried genuinely. There's a reason why it's in the 4th to 5th round, because we honestly are watching Vrabel truly mess up the running back room decisions. Like truly. I don't care what anybody says. You can call in and honestly, you might think you have a stance, but I feel like I'm dunking on you. That you can say whatever you want, but the bottom line is this is the best running back in the stable. He's better at Ramondre at everything. And even if there's some things you disagree with that and you say, no, Ramondre's better here, he's efficient, you just need to give him the ball. You haven't given him the ball. It's whatever excuse you want to make. You can't tell somebody they don't have experience and then you don't give them experience. How do you become a waiter or a waitress for the first time in your life without experience? We're only hiring if you have experience. Well, how do you get experience then? So there's no excuse to be sitting here during Super Bowl week and saying, well, they don't trust him in this or that. Then give him the damn ball during the season. Regardless, it's been botched because this weapon right here, when getting starter carries, was the best running back in the National Football League. So, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Stop it. From Mule. Mule says, stop it with the Hampton hype. He's a pedestrian at best. You probably were there during the Achan debacle. 3 years of me inventing Achan and you getting coffee for me and everybody else here while you said Achan was trash. Achan's too small. Achan's going to get hurt. And now it's Hampton? Okay. We'll see you at the finish line, pal. All right, rock out. What else you want to ask about Hendy or whatever?
Yeah, what do you think about Darnold in his last performance? Minnesota's probably punching air right now.
Yeah, Minnesota. I mean, look, Darnold's an efficient quarterback. Yep. And like I said, him and Purdy are two very similar system quarterbacks that can play good enough to be better than system quarterbacks when they're on their game. meaning that they're not the traditional system quarterbacks. They have a lot of abilities. But the Vikings saw Darnold execute at certain points flawlessly through that 2024 season. And it wasn't until the very, very end, I mean, we're talking like the last game and a half or whatever, that they decided they no longer wanted him. We're talking about 2 games prior to them deciding they didn't want him anymore. The whole team put Darnold on their shoulders and marched him around the locker room and cheered his name and revered him. And 1.5 games changed all that. And that's on Minnesota. Minnesota should be embarrassed of themselves for not looking at Darnold the way they did after a game and a half different. And it's kind of a very depressing thing for Justin Jefferson, I'm sure. But Darnold is a good quarterback. There's not a lot of elite top 5 quarterbacks because there's only we usually have 7 top 5 guys on this channel. Smitty, rank your top 5. All right, let me give you 7.
Yeah. Yep.
These 7 are my top 5. But there are only 7 top 5 quarterbacks in the National Football League. So you're not you can't just be like, well, if Darnold's not him, let's go get one. It's not that simple. So, anyway, I think Darnold is solid. Darnold's solid. I think Darnold, if they would have kept him in Minnesota, they probably wouldn't have been where the Seattle Seahawks are because their defense is just so good. But they certainly would have been a much scarier team, and Justin Jefferson would be currently ranked top 5 overall if Darnold were still there. Hopefully they bring in somebody. I think Kyler is a good gamble to take, given the options. Tua will be a good gamble to take. Tua is somebody that Minnesota Vikings staff or Steichen in Indy or Dable, wherever Dable is. Tua is one of those quarterbacks that can't be utilized properly by every coach, but those situations could get the most out of Tua. Those situations could get the most out of Kyler potentially. And somebody said in the chat earlier, AR5, that it would be interesting to see AR5 go to a team that needed a quarterback. I mean, there are definitely a few teams that could use a signal caller. We'll see what the Steelers end up doing with Aaron Rodgers, and if McCarthy was truly to bring him back, and if he doesn't come back, who's going to quarterback there? Will Howard? We'll see. Miami Dolphins probably go after Malik Willis, but it doesn't mean Malik Willis wants to be reunited with everything Green Bay that's now evolving over there in Miami. It's very trendy to say, oh, Willis will be in Miami because the GM and their current head coach now is a former Green Bay Packer, so they're just going to bring in Malik Willis. He might not want anything to do with that, regime that didn't, we'll see. As far as, the Jets, there's a lot of places that these quarterbacks could land, but if you take someone like Tua and put him in New York, the New York Jets, he would fail, I think. If you put Tua in Minnesota or in Indy, I think he could thrive. You put Kyler in the New York Jet uniform, I think he fails. You put Kyler in a Minnesota uniform or a Shane Steichen environment in Indy, he might be okay. So it just kind of depends. There are teams that need quarterbacks, but there are certain situations that actually are going to potentially be resolved. Like Arizona, it's going to be Brissett. Pittsburgh, it might just be Aaron Rodgers again. So these situations might be resolved within, and then there won't be as many spots. But Kyler going for a 3rd rounder is crazy. I would take that gamble as my backup. If I'm McVay and I'm worried about Stafford playing maybe only one more year, And McVay was asked about that, by the way, and I don't think that reporter was dumb asking the question. Everybody was ripping him apart because McVay's answer was kind of snarky to him. But the guy said, "Hey, you guys plan on Stafford being back?" It's a very fair question because Stafford's back and he's contemplated retirement before McVay's contemplated retirement, and he's like, "What kind of question is that?" It's like, well, he might not want to play. And on top of that, he has to rework his contract in order to play. You said that yourself. You go, Stafford's here on a year-to-year basis. Is what he said in the offseason. So it wasn't that dumb of a question. And no, I was not the one that asked it. You're Smitty. Were you there? Is that you? So, I don't know. But we'll see. There's definitely a lot of places. Like, I think if McVay does plan on staying past and beyond Stafford's amount of time that he's staying, because there's some thinking that they could walk away together, because McVay hasn't wanted to play or wanted to coach, you know, at certain points where we thought he'd step away for at least a little while and come back to the game maybe. But if McVay ends up staying, Kyler would be a great secondary option to put on your roster at a third round cost. I mean, third round picks, how many times do you just waste a third round pick and not even land the player? So, but there's a lot of money involved in that too, though. There's a big cost of entry. It would be hard to do that if Kyler's expectation was, you know, he's getting an extension immediately. You know, but it is a lot of money. But I don't know, man. It seems like a great gamble for a team to make. It just, a team would have to have a lot of money. Go ahead, rock out. Final thought, and I'm going to go over to Travis.
Go to Travis real quick.
All right. Mute yourself if you could, rock out, to avoid any reverb. Travis, you are live.
Yeah, so I was just looking at Kyler's contract, and he's basically on a one-year deal, if you look at it, because there's 2 years left with a club option for 2028, but the dead cap for 2027 is $7 million. So it's $54 million this year, but only $7 million.
Yeah, he's gone. So he's gone from Arizona.
Feasibly, yeah, but I'm even saying, like, feasibly a team could, you know, bring him in and either just hold him on that 1 year deal,
right,
or restructure from there. So, I mean, it's definitely doable for a team, like, whereas a couple years ago it clearly wasn't, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the contracts, you know, obviously the dead cap changes from year to year. It's, you know, ridiculous when people think Joe Burrow is going anywhere unless he was to just take his contract and take away guaranteed years to make him movable to get a new deal on another team. Like, that's a very extreme scenario. Burrow's the one guy that would do something wild like that, whereas most people would not take money off the table. They would say, you need to give me that and trade me, and I'm going to go get a new bag. But, you know, like JJ too can't really be traded. The dead cap is enormous. It's like $72 million or something, the dead cap to trade JJ. The Vikings are not trading JJ. Like, everyone that thinks the Niners think they're getting. The Niners think they're getting everybody. The Niner fan base thinks they're getting JJ. Like, they'll trade for JJ. JJ's not available. Not only is JJ not available, but JJ, the Vikings think they can win regardless of what you think. The Vikings think they can win, and JJ's dead cap is $70+ million. They're not getting rid of JJ. There's a higher likelihood they bring in a quarterback like Burrow on some weird scenario like I described than they trade JJ out of Minnesota. Like, 1 year from now, it potentially, with that dead cap dropping significantly, I think to like $30 million or whatever it is, there's a potential that if JJ is so unhappy and creates a lot of, you know, unrest, or if Joe Burrow is really unhappy and creates unrest, that after the 2025 season, or 2026 season, we have something happen the next offseason. But no, Burrow's not moving, JJ's not moving, and fan bases that think they're getting one or the other are wild. But Kyler's definitely an interesting, like, if I'm McVay, I'm bringing Kyler in. I mean, a third rounder, man, why would you? If you're the Colts, why wouldn't you do that? You know, you don't know what Dimes is going to be. Will he get hurt again? Will he have compensation injury? Will he tear his other Achilles or re-tear that one, trying to come back too soon? Like, why not just bring in Kyler? And you could even then trade AR5 at that point if you wanted. Pay, you know, use some of that. Maybe, I don't know what you get for AR5. 4th or 5th round, maybe? I don't know. You could get some of that compensation back.
Yeah, maybe. Something like that.
And where would I want to see AR5? I don't think anybody's bringing him in to start, but, like, where would somebody be? It's interesting. You know, it'd be cool. It's like a place team wanted to use him as like a tight Taysom Hill, you know, in New Orleans. You imagine New Orleans saying, you know what? Taysom, meet Taysom. I mean, AR5. The Spider-Man memes everywhere of AR5 pointing at Taysom Hill pointing at AR5. Why not? That would be unreal to train and cultivate another Taysom Hill. But that would be how I would use AR5, to be honest. Like, if I was the Falcons, I'd be pretty intrigued by it, to be honest. Bring him in, have this dynamic player that you can now utilize. They can throw. You know, he can still throw, but you can also. Now, I don't know if I love that for Bijan. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying from a football perspective. Like, I'm taking AR5 for a 5th round pick or whatever, and using him as a utility player. All right, what else you got, Travis?
Not much else. I mean, good news. I think McDaniel ultimately staying as the OC is better because, like we talked about, you know, fun as it would be to have him in Buffalo or something like that. I'm really interested to see what he does with all the weapons they have there because, you know, and with Herbert because, you know, if they have McDaniel there, you know, I don't worry as much about Harbaugh just wanting to run the ball like crazy like he has in the past, which, you know, also has been because of his offensive coordinator, you know.
Yeah, I think that, you know, there's two things going on when we're trying to like root on and cheer on a offensive coordinator move or head coaching move. Like for one, we kind of want McDaniel in LV as the head coach because then he's cemented for years, you know. He goes to play OC over in LAC as a Charger. We're probably watching Hampton go crazy under McDaniel for 1 year. Then McDaniel leaves. Bye, Felicia. He gets a head coaching job somewhere else. That's his goal. That's his end game. He almost chose another team to be head coach. Like Browns were interested. He's like, no thanks. Raiders, doesn't sound like maybe they were as interested in head coach. So he said, let me go OC where I know I can thrive. And I'm going to be the number one head coaching option in the 2027 cycle. And that's his end game. And so it's like tough to not want to take the now and say, look, that's fine. I'll take a year of it. Hampton gets going and then they hand it off to someone else. Kind of like the Detroit Lions did. And you hope that when Ben leaves, that Morton's going to, there's an awful hiring. And I kind of said that when it happened.
Detected at the front door.
Or elevation, you could even say. But you just hope that they replace McDaniel and Hampton's on his way. And it's like, okay, young bird, now you can fly without me. And Hampton ends up being, you know, the best version of him he can be without McDaniel, but is still good. But there is some like kind of bummer that we're not locking this offensive mastermind Mike McDaniel into a spot for like 3 or 4 years. But the good news is when he leaves, he'll be able to go somewhere and make someone else great. We just got to hope that he's going to a place where there's a Genty, Bijan, and Gibbs situation, you know. Problem is, like, trying to envision that 1 year from now, the Raiders aren't going to move on from their head coach again after 1 year. They're not going to do that, I don't think. The Chargers aren't going to move on, so Hampton won't be available for McDaniel there. Bijan, is it possible? Falcons are weird. You know, they're wild with their decisions, and I don't think they're going to move on from Stefanski after 1 year. Yeah,
they just gave the keys to Matt Ryan, so they'll
right.
play that out.
Matt Ryan, I don't know. We'll see. So I don't think that's going to be an option. So then you've got Gibbs. Is it possible Campbell could be fired after, let's say, he just completely craps the bed next year? I know everyone's going to say no, but you never know. You know, so maybe the Gibbs would be available for McDaniel next offseason. Who knows? I know Detroit fans would be like, no, it's not possible. He's an idiot. But look, he craps the bed again. I don't know. Some teams, some suits upstairs don't look kindly toward continuous, you know, missing the boat. And, you know, I mean, you let go of Ben Johnson, things collapse, and then things collapse again.
Right. With him being gone and Ben Johnson having success elsewhere, and that whole narrative starts to build.
Yeah, so we'll see. Like McDaniel, hopefully he does get one of those running backs, though, when he does leave. But for right now, it's great. It's great for Hampton. I also believe that Kubiak does end up leaving Seattle and goes to LV, which is my hope. That's good enough. Like, that's a really good scenario for us, and we're not mad that McDaniel's not in LV. So we'll see. But Kubiak would be unbelievable for the Raiders. I mean, we'd see Bowers go to the moon. We'd see Genty thrive. We'd see Mendoza. He would be unbelievable. You know, especially watching with what Kubiak has done with Sam Darnold. He'll be able to do the same thing with the rookie quarterback. And LV will be dangerous their first year. They might not make the playoffs, but they'll be building upon a season that can vault them in the next year. You know, it'll be similar build to the Detroit Lions. You saw them coming 1 year, and then the next year it was true. So, yeah, Hampton. I mean, don't you think Hampton top 5 is easily in the cards, given how good Achan's been and how good Mike has been, no matter what with scheme? I think top 5 is...
And given everything around him, he's got the quarterback he needs. They, you know, conceivably have 2 really good linemen if they're healthy. So, you know, all the pieces are there.
Yeah. Yeah, and to 885, your comment about Mike is a better OC, for sure, but the problem is he's gonna you got to pick your poison. Like, he's gonna do well OCing, and then he's gonna leave and get immediately a head coaching job, because he almost got a head coaching job now. Imagine if he does well, then he's definitely going to get one. I mean, anybody that advances.
He probably could be the coach of the Browns right now, or one of his other teams.
Yeah, he just didn't. He wants a better choice. But you're not wrong, but it doesn't mean he still can't get there. You know, sometimes it takes a little time. And we're also judging him, and it's his own fault for hitching his wagon to Tua. And one of the reasons he took the job was because of Tua. And that wasn't necessarily the right choice, but let's see what he does with a great quarterback now before we judge him entirely. You know, and again, he'll be an OC, so we can say, well, he's going to be good no matter what because he's a great OC. But I think if he gets a great quarterback, I think he becomes a much more dangerous head coach and offensive coordinator. And, you know, Shanahan is bad at a lot of things. Kyle Shanahan is bad at a lot of things as a head coach, but he's such a good offensive coordinator, like McDaniel, and it's the same tree. McDaniel comes from Shanahan. He's an offspring of Shanahan. They're both very bad at off-season situations, or can be. Like not especially around quarterbacks. Like it does not feel like they understand the quarterback position as well as they should, given how good of offensive minds they are. You know, the way Shanahan botched his quarterback situation for years. And Mike McDaniel not trying to come up with a solution for Tua. I mean, when you eventually bench Tua in the middle of a year, you clearly messed it up. And we've been saying for years, Tua's not going to be the answer. Like, we say it every year. It's very obvious. So, all right. Anything else, boys?
Yeah, I think it'd be disappointing if they limit Hunter that much. And I mean, it's still hard for me to picture Liam Cohen, you know, not wanting him on offense. You know, again, it doesn't have to be 80% of the snaps. He could play 50 or 60% of snaps on offense.
I think he will eventually. I think he will.
Really effective.
I mean, his comments are easy to take out of context, and it's easy to interpret it one way or the other. But that's what people are doing. I mean, there's nothing new. I mean, Liam Cohen spoke on it. He said that they're going to play him more on defense, and that it didn't go as well on offense, and that they'll, you know, they've got some new weapons in the wide receiver room. So, like, all that does paint a picture for sure. But people are really running with it in a way that's suggesting like he's not going to be on offense. And the report that I just read earlier today, the one that's right, right here. This is just, in my opinion, more reinterpretation of the actual stuff we've already seen, and it's just early indications, like the press conference. That Travis Hunter is primarily going to be cornerback. Cohen hasn't said that, but what Cohen has said is things haven't gone as well, and they want to play him on defense more. But again, even if it ends up being the worst case scenario for us, that it's like, no, he's going to play just like a couple packages or something, and that's what this guy's insinuating from ESPN. Then the moment he explodes and does something, or an injury strikes or whatever, and he starts effectively scoring the on opportunities he gets, and he's electric, they're going to flip a switch again and be like, let's get him more work. I mean, we're just, think about where we were at. He wasn't getting used a lot, and then out of nowhere, it was like he's going to get wide receiver 1 treatment. That was the verbiage. We were all excited. Hunter was going to the moon. He was going to get wide receiver 1 treatment, is what Cohen said. And then what happened? Injury, and then now he's regulated to not even the number 3 wide receiver. Like, it doesn't make sense, and I think they'll flip the switch again at some point.
Yeah, and I think that timing of that, it coincided with BTJ being hurt and stuff, but also it also coincided when Elaw seemed to be coming around and seemed to be finally grasping the system fully, and Cohen, had T-Law, where he wanted mechanically and in the playbook and all that stuff too. So, it would make sense that it could take a guy that's learning offense and defense like that first year, close to half a season to pick up a full playbook and pick up it's a complicated offense from everything we understand.
Yeah.
The last thing was just Healing just brought it up about Shedeur getting named to the Pro Bowl. I mean, I'm a Shedeur guy, but isn't that ridiculous? I mean,
it is ridiculous. I think.
What are they doing?
I mean, it's a popularity contest anyway.
It works on him too.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't help him. But I will say that I feel like I almost smile when I hear it, because it's like everyone trying to hold him back. It just doesn't work. It's like you want to keep holding this kid back, and somehow he's becoming relevant. And it just goes to show how dumb Stefanski is. Everybody wanted to see him. This is a guy you drafted, the organization drafted, and you shouldn't have done it. Like, if you didn't want him, you didn't like him.
Right.
Why'd you even draft him? And Stefanski might tell you I was forced to. Well, you're an imbecile, is what I would tell him. And I'm hoping Stefanski doesn't ruin Bijan, and I'm hoping that somehow, some way, the right combination of the tools he's getting over in Atlanta makes him a good coach. And he's proven to be good in spots. But I just watched. I don't really care about history as much as I care about last year. History's cool. You can tell me 3 years ago he did this, or 4 years ago he did this, or 2 years ago. But what have I seen lately? Because sometimes the game passes by people. Sometimes the game's been morphing very quickly at a very rapid pace the last 3 or 4 years, turning into something completely different. And we haven't seen Stefanski make smart decisions at all for an entire season, couple seasons. So I don't know, but Stefanski botched Shedeur, and the fact that Shedeur is still sitting in this situation where they probably wouldn't trade him even if he requested it. They'd be like, no, we're not going to trade you. Do you want to use me? No. So you don't want him to use me, but you won't trade me and set me free. You just want to ruin me. Yeah. Everybody's wanted to ruin Shedeur. Shedeur was set up for failure, and he still succeeded to a degree. And, quite honestly, I do think it's a joke to be Pro Bowl player, I guess. But the Pro Bowl is kind of a joke anyway. It's kind of a popularity contest, so it doesn't matter.
It's obviously, it's not any reflection on Shedeur. There's nothing he can do about it. They named him that. But I think it's a reflection on the NFL. It's pathetically stupid, in my opinion. It makes a mockery of everything. And I get that Pro Bowl is, kind of a joke anyways, but at least the guys get named to it are deserving. Like, he's not deserving at all. There's nothing Pro Bowl about his numbers. And I'm not even knocking him. It's just, I'm questioning, you know, like the NFL just come out and say, okay, we're just going to do a skills competition with really popular players, and your play has nothing to do with it. You know, I don't like it.
Yeah. We'll see. Normal people would look at the Browns organization and said this is a problem.
Yeah, the Browns are a joke.
Yeah, Browns are. But Stefanski's part of it, you know.
Yep.
I mean, maybe he can change my mind, but I'm certainly not optimistic.
Yeah, I hope he does. I don't have much faith, you know.
John talking about NyQuil or whatever. I don't know if you're talking to somebody else. I don't know what you're saying. Having the flu for a week. I haven't had the flu for weeks. I just got sick 24 hours ago. I don't know what you're talking about. Per usual, John. And everybody's a doctor. You took Dayquil. What are you doing? Don't you know the Dayquil? Like, give me a break, bro. Agree 100% Pro Bowl is a joke, but it matters for the players' careers. T-Law should have got it. Well, I think they need to redo it. They need to redo it, and I think to make the Pro Bowl, there should be a measurement that is more accurately depicting of it and not make it a popularity contest. So, figure out how to do that. But like the Pro Bowl, the way that the names are compiled, like what do people want? What do the people want from it? You know, like it's very clear how they determine who makes the Pro Bowl. It's a popularity contest of sorts. So Shador, in a way, people are fighting back against the holding of his career back. In a way.
Did people vote for him though, or did he get named that? How does it work?
Well,
I guess that's my question.
Here's the exact description. Pro Bowl rosters are determined by consensus vote, with the fans' vote, player votes, and coach votes each counting for 1/3, 33% of the final selection. A total of 88 players, 44 from each conference, are chosen for the multi-day event, which features skill contest, flag football, etc., etc., etc. Voting weight, fan voting, which takes place online, probowl.com/vote. So if you only have yourself to blame, if Shador is on the Pro Bowl and you didn't do anything about it, it's like someone complaining about who the president is. Counts for 1/3 of the total vote, while coaches and players casting remains 2/3. So players and coaches came together and said Shador deserves it because he's been held back by this team. I'm just saying, like, if we want to pretend, and I'm not like going against what you're saying, Travis, I'm just saying in general, if we want to pretend it's a joke, 1/3 is up to the populace, and 2/3 of the people involved are coaches and players. And Shador got the crappiest hand dealt to him a player could ever get handed. And he's taken it in stride since entering the league. You can make fun of whatever you want prior to the NFL draft, but he's taken it in stride. And in a way, I kind of like it as an FU to everybody.
Yeah, I like
makes
it
me
in that
smile.
sense. My problem is that, you're going to look back on it and people are going to say, like, oh, he made a Pro Bowl. Well,
true.
He didn't deserve to make a Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I guess right.
I guess that's my beef is, I guess what you're saying, though, is that they need to rework either the way they name them or, like, for example, like, in terms of votes, he shouldn't have been eligible to be voted on. At some point in the season, it shouldn't just be anyone can be voted for. Like, there should be certain, I don't know how, I'm not the guy to do it, but. Yeah,
but I guess people need to change their perspective of what the Pro Bowl is. If people are like, it should be the top player, like it's clearly defined. It's voting. It's a popularity contest. It's, you what?
Guys, that's a notch on their that they use in negotiations and stuff like that too. I
Yeah.
mean, guys get credit and accolades and all that.
I'm personally glad though that Shedeur has that, because he's been held back. he keeps kind of floating back up. And like, to me, I agree with you from like a general perspective. Like, it's not good that they use this as a measurement when it's clearly evident that the fan base can vote for Taysom Hill, their favorite. Like, everyone loves Taysom Hill. Or let's say Mendoza becomes a poster boy for the NFL and has a mediocre rookie year and he becomes a Pro Bowler. Like, fans are going to vote for that, But 2/3 of the vote is players and coaches. So tell me how that happened. If the players don't understand what's going on, that he got help.
Fan votes.
You what?
That's what I would guess. My guess is he just got a ton of votes from the fans and it overwhelmed the rest of it. But I mean, like Daniel Jones should be on over him. Trevor Lawrence should be on.
But according to this that I'm reading here, the way it's weighted though, it's weighted. So it's not like all of the fan votes, can overwhelm. It's 1/3 of the voting is weighted by the fan votes. So it's going to be different measurement of weight. So it's still crazy that 2/3 of the vote is coaches and players. 2/3 of the weight of the vote. So you tell me how Shedeur made the Pro Bowl. Like, can we blame the fans? No, it's only 1/3 the vote. So all I'm saying is, if the players and coaches decided that he's a Pro Bowler, what's that tell you? That everybody looked at this thing as a messed up situation and they're like, Shedeur doing what he did, they just loved it. I don't know. I'm not sure. But all I know is I like it because it's an FU to everybody that tries to tear him down, to his coach that tried to not even play him, and he ended up a Pro Bowler. What a moron Stefanski. I'm not saying he earned it, but just like, look at how bad your decision making was. It drove the coaches and players to vote for him to be a Pro Bowler. That's how bad Stefanski's quarterback decision making has been.
I think it's a flawed way. And again, I'm not.
It's for sure
agree
flawed.
With you. I like the FU, and I like that the haters have something more to be mad about than that is relevant.
Yeah. All right, hold on one second. Let me get this caller in here real quick.
Yeah.
Landman 240. Landman, you're live.
Hey. Listen, I wanted to bounce back and everything like that with if McDaniel only lasts a year, it makes sense what he did, does a good year, and then goes over to gets a head coaching job and everything. Good for him. That's probably what's going to happen. My question is this, they always talk about these trees, well, he comes from the McVay tree and the Shanahan tree and all that stuff. When they start hiring these OCs from these teams, why don't they get the disciple, like the head, the quarterback's coach or whatever, sort of like how the value of David Blau with the Commanders did, and start recruiting that way. A good general manager seems like he should have that, so he has sort of like a relief pitcher and warming up in the bullpen, knowing that eventuality is the guy's successful as the offensive coordinator, he's going to get a head coaching job.
Well, they do. I guess it just depends on like getting that person in there. Like, look at Shieldhouse over in LAR. Like, they're going to lose a quarterback coach. Shieldhouse, they're going to lose him as a offensive coordinator. So, I mean, everybody's getting ripped, bro. When you're a top 4 team like the Seahawks or the Rams, you're not just getting your OC ripped. You're getting that quarterback coach that you're coaching up is also going to get ripped. So.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when the Chargers signed McDaniel. Why not take the quarterback coach or whoever was the disciple underneath McDaniel at Miami? That's what I'm talking about. Take a twosome there.
Well,
that way,
a lot of times you have to elevate a guy for him to leave the franchise. You have to give him a more prominent spot. A lot of times it won't make a lateral move. That's one reason I can think of. But.
Well, you also understand that, like, McDaniel's OC or quarterback coach isn't really as valuable because he's making a lot of these decisions. Just like even though Shanahan's trees produce well, and it has, because they learn under him. Just because you're the QB coach over in San Francisco doesn't mean you're gonna, be even valuable or even used properly. But I think that, also, like, I'm sure as OC, he's gonna have a lot of say over what his team's gonna be. So if he believes his quarterback coach, who failed over in Miami, is the guy he wants, I'm sure McDaniel could bring him over. So I don't know. I don't think it's just a simple formula like that guy's always going to be good. I mean, how many times have you hired I don't know if you do any hiring or firing in your line of work or whatever, but how many times has somebody hired somebody they thought was going to be good and they weren't, Like part of McDaniel's downfall could have been his quarterback coach or whatever. Like, who knows? I don't think it just automatically makes him good. But
yeah, I think just by keeping him close, he absorbs more of the playbook.
Maybe not.
And that, I mean,
could be.
Again, it just seems to me if you're going to go through this carousel every year, knowing that you're going to get a guy. Everybody sees the end game here. He took the OC job because he didn't want to get a shitty head coaching job at a franchise that's in disarray. So he goes back, builds up his equity again, and everything gets and then all of a sudden you're back there with no continuity.
Yeah, but that's, we've said that. That's the negative part. That's what I keep saying show after show, is that the league should step in and make coaching contracts similar to player contracts, where you have to play out your contract. But the NFL doesn't want that. They want this turnover for whatever reason. It creates injuries. It creates turmoil. But what I'm saying is that you can't just assume that because Mike is good that the quarterback coach is going to be next up for a job. Like it's case by case. Sometimes I agree. But sometimes we find that the quarterback tree all the way down the tree, ends up being solid. Let me merge this call. Hold on one second. 443, mute yourself. I'll be right with you. Just please hit mute. But the honest truth is, bro, I don't have an indication that the staff under Mike in Miami was good enough to do that. I don't feel that way at all. I think like somewhere like Kubiak and his staff, and this is why you'll see even Shieldhouse get ripped from LAR, is because he learned a lot, and McVay and Shanahan do produce that kind of proven pedigree. So it's kind of like horse you're creating a horse lineage, horse racers, Like there's some proven. I don't think McDaniel's proven to have that lineage yet. Just because he came from Shanahan doesn't mean he's a reproducer of solid coaching. You know what I mean? So like if you bring over all of his same staff, you might fail over in LAC. He might need his new fresh start. But like someone like McVay and Shanahan, we have more of a proven track record. But then it doesn't matter if you're building them up; they'll just get ripped. You know what I mean? Like if you're good at producing offspring down the coaching tree, then like Shieldhouse, what you're saying, build up Shieldhouse so he can then take over. He's going to get taken before he has a chance to move up. So he's gone. Shieldhouse is going to be an offensive coordinator somewhere. So it's harder than it sounds to like worry about that or try and plan for it, because if you're producing good coordinators and quarterback coaches and passing game coordinators, they're going to get ripped right away.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Yeah, I think you got to catch them when they're in. I think you got to catch them when they're in like the double A, to use a baseball euphemism. Catch them in while they're playing double A ball. Like, who would ever heard of David Blau? But he was almost, snagged by Detroit. And then the commander said, well, I don't want to lose him, so let's keep him here. So again, and it remains to be seen what kind of an offensive coordinator he becomes. But anyway, listen, I don't want to be redundant or anything like that. But
I got your super chat.
I did put a rant. I did put a rant on though.
I got it on the screen here. It says like what the Commanders did with their OC. So you basically you just already voiced that. Okay. Yeah, I would say case by case. That's the unfortunate answer. There's no way to do that.
Hey, most importantly, I hope you feel better. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, pal.
I've had those kids. I've raised my kids, man. It stinks. They bring home everything.
Yeah, I've been good for a year though. I used to get a couple of years ago. I'd get sick like every 3-4 months. It sucked. because my immune system isn't as strong as the average bear because I'm in this box all day and I go get food. I'm a germaphobe anyway. Like I'm the guy that uses his foot to open up the bathroom door at the movie theater. You know, I'm the guy that has a handful of paper towels to open up a bathroom door. Like I'm not exposing myself to germs even when I go out. So I get blasted when the kids bring the Black Plague home or whatever. But for like a year, maybe more than a year, maybe it's been like, I don't know if anybody remembers the last time I got sick. It's been like a year and maybe 4 months or something, a year and 3 months. I didn't jinx myself because I always say I'm gonna get sick. I never say I just say I haven't been sick in a year and 2-3 months. I'm gonna get sick next month, and I keep anti-jinxing myself. And then finally I got it. I got hit. Hopefully it's not.
You didn't live in Arizona. You could have just. You didn't live in Arizona. You could just taken a snow day today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't. I don't want to take a snow day. I love going to work, but I don't know. We'll see how bad this gets. It's just the beginning of it, so hopefully it doesn't get worse. Sometimes things will just go away, but usually when we get a sickness in the house, like everybody starts passing it to everybody, and it comes back like a month later. So I'm not out of the woods.
Well, we appreciate you showing up for work.
Yeah, no snow day, landman. What else? What else you got? Anything else? What about Hampton? Top 5?
Nah. Yeah. Well, I like everything about him. I guess I always go back to the health thing. You know, that's the only thing that bothers me. Is just it's dinged up very easily, it seems. But again, that remains to be seen. Could be nothing. You know, it could be nothing. But I'd like to see his his off-season training regiment, strengthen up a lot of that stuff.
Let's look at his college injury history, though. During his college career, he suffered a significant left ankle injury as a junior, which included ligament damage and potentially a fracture, ending his season, but securing a scholarship guarantee, blah, blah, blah. Later, as a rookie, the chart, yeah, so it's not a huge injury history, but the fact that it is ankle. And it's like a lot of people have that concern that he's got these like flimsy ankles. So
both ankles, right?
I think so. But the thing is, though,
this year he did both.
Frank Gore had the worst ankles known to man, and then one day he woke up and he never got injured again. it was like he ossified. It was like his ankles like got fused. I don't know if he went and got some kind of. He went to Germany, and this is before they had medicine for it. They just fused him. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna cauterize everything and then put steel poles. I mean, Frank Gore was always injured. Ankles, foot, hand, constant.
He went to the chopper.
Yeah, constantly to the chopper. But then Frank Gore woke up one day and literally never got hurt again, and he kept playing. You never know. Yeah, Frank Gore still could play at 105. But we'll see. A little early to call him an injury risk, but I think there's concern. What?
I'm going to be drafting a lot of people from the AFC West next year.
Yeah.
Between the Raiders, Broncos, of course the Chiefs, and the Chargers. I mean, there's a lot of good talent in that. There's a lot of potential.
Look, the West.
Potential just.
Look at both West, bro.
Okay.
AFC West, NFC West. I mean, look at Seattle, San Francisco, LAR, KC, Denver, Chargers. I mean, we had some talent come out of the NFC West. I mean, the Rams just faced off against Seattle, and if they hadn't faced each other, it was San Francisco. Like, you literally had one. We almost had 3 teams vying for the NFC championship, which is crazy. So a lot of talent on both the West. The West is where it's at right now, at least.
I tell you what, it's been a great playoff leading up to the Super Bowl. I mean, it was probably 85-90% of the games were like a last possession game.
Mm-hmm. All right, Landman, appreciate you.
Anyway. All right, no worries. Appreciate it.
Later.
Feel better.
Thanks. We've got another caller here. Nick from Baltimore. What do you want to complain about today, Nick?
Actually, it's been a great show, Smitty. So
well, but just to call you out though, you can try and dial us back. But in the comments recently, you said something pretty negative. I forget what the exact terms, and I said, "Why are you even here? Why you even watch the show?" And you go, "Because sometimes you do get it right." So I'll stay.
Yep, and today you got it right, Smitty.
Oh,
I think that
so glad.
Hampton's really good.
Thanks, Nick.
I think that's why I called in today. I didn't want to bring up the negative like you think I do. Okay.
Okay. Well, why don't you speak on it?
So,
what? Go ahead.
Yeah. So Hampton. I've been looking at the film of the highlights this year. I think you're right. He's got a lot of good traits, and he's going to be in a great situation. Even going forward, I think that even when McDaniel leaves, I think that there's hope with Harbaugh at the helm that he could bring in the next guy, because he did that with Greg Roman, and he was trying to set up a run game there. He did that in Michigan, and I think he's doing it with McDaniel. So I think there's hope that that's going to be good going forward.
All right. So prediction before you go: top 5 running back. Top 7?
Top 5. I was actually breaking this down with Kubiak going to a new place, and there's obviously Shanahan. There's a lot of good coaches, and there's a lot of good running backs. It's really hard to find his spot in the top 5 to me, though, because when I look at someone like Achane, which is already there, he's just such an elusive, fast-paced runner. Compared to Hampton, he looks like a Hall of Famer, I don't know. I don't know where I would put him.
All right. Well, good talk,
Nick. Do you
Nick.
think you can make a board at some point as far as a top running back board?
I mean,
that would help.
I'll do a board, sure. All right, Nick. All right, good.
That'd be great. All right. Well, that's been
good talk, Nick.
That. I think Scatterboo is also going to be really good going forward, just because of Harbaugh and possibly Moncton, being there. I think Moncton's going to be able to use him correctly too.
Yep.
So yeah, good stuff.
All right, later, Nick. He was in the comments just completely trashing me. People say I block everybody who disagrees with me. Nick is constantly complaining, and he called in to try and I think make it right, but he was in the comments. I don't know if he thought I wasn't reading him or something. He was like, blah blah blah, Smitty never blah blah blah, and I was like, why are you even here? Why are you even here? Why are you even watching? And he's like, and whenever you ask that question to somebody that acts like you get everything wrong and you're trash, they have to come up with either some ridiculous because it's entertaining to watch, or they say something like, but you're right. So, yeah, you're right. All right, rock out. Final thoughts.
You gonna do a court session for the top receiver between JSN and Puka and Chase?
Yeah, we'll definitely have that debate all off season. Chase,
right.
Puka, JSN. Honestly, how do you even decide? You just rotate them. If I had to pick one,
they showed out.
If I had to pick one, I probably would say Puka, I guess, for redraft, but I don't know. Jamar Chase is getting discounted because these two have been so good, and Jamar Chase hasn't. It's almost like Jamar Chase has had a battery taken out of his, the back of the, he's been playing on one Duracell, and everyone's forgetting how good he's going to be once they charge him up. So we'll see.
He wasn't in the playoffs either, so.
Yeah.
You can't really go wrong with those guys.
Yeah, just rotate them is my advice.
Diversify.
Yep. All right, Travis or Rockout, we'll see you tonight. If I'm live, I think I'll be.
Yep.
All right, later.
Yeah, we'll see. All right.
Travis, final thoughts.
Don't So the Commanders did what you were just talking about with how guys get ripped away left and right. They hired Durante Jones as their defensive coordinator, and he was one of Brian Flores' defensive coaches. So it's like, he's been there for a few years, I think, with Flores, and he just got ripped away to be a coordinator somewhere. So it happens all the time.
I don't know why
I see mixed things from the Commanders.
I don't know why the NFL wants it this way, though. Like, why wouldn't you want some consistency? I guess it adds excitement to have teams be able to, switch real quickly, but at the same time, you have teams collapsing really quickly. So I feel like...
And the offense one is the toughest. I think that sucks how that happens now.
Yeah. I just don't know why they don't say, let's make them... the contracts at least like a 2-year commitment,
2 year, yeah.
I don't understand. This doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because 2 years alone, because there's so many knee-jerk firings. They bring in even a head coach, and they're like, okay, we're going to give you 3 or 4 years. Things don't work out, and boom, they're gone. Now, I think a head coach you should be able to fire after a year, but in terms of coordinators, unless you're going to fire the head coach too.
Yeah, I think firings you should be able to do whenever you want. You just have to pay. I think firings you should be able to do whenever you want, just like you can cut a player whenever you want. But you're going to pay you're going to pay a tax on that if you end up cutting them in their guarantees. But the thing that the reason why
letting them get pulled away,
the reason why I think that this hasn't been addressed is because it never was an issue. But now that everybody, similar to when we do a mock draft as a community, everybody freaks out and they reach because they're afraid of what this person's going to do, and it causes this cascading effect. I think we're just watching everybody go, if we don't poach them, they will. So instead of being logical and saying to yourself, like, Shieldhouse, okay, over in LAR, is he really good or is it McVay? Let's wait and see how he is next year. That's how it used to work, and everybody played the same game. But now that somebody's reaching and saying, well, we're going to take Shieldhouse, now you can't wait, and then you reach, and then it just causes a crazy panic where everyone's reaching, like in a mock draft, they're reaching on these OCs and DCs, and they're making knee-jerk reactions, and coaches aren't staying long. They don't have like a lot of, if you have 2 bad years, you're gone. Look at Pete Carroll. I'm not saying Pete Carroll deserved to be hired in the beginning anyway, but just they move quick, like boom, 1 year, that never happened in the past. So there's turnover quickly, so demand's there, and then you're watching everybody just reach like crazy. And so I think that it didn't need to be addressed earlier, but maybe now it does need to be addressed because it's something that now exists that didn't. So I don't know if the NFL will ever look into it. I don't know why. It's crazy how it works.
Yeah. And last thing I was going to ask you was, would you rather have, since I think one is basically on a 1-year contract, which is an out, and then the other one's on essentially a 1-year contract when you look at it. Would you rather have Kyler or Tua if you were one of these teams?
I think it depends on my team. It depends on my team.
Yeah.
If I'm like Minnesota and I think I could have a system guy, I just need yardage, I would go Tua. If I've got a team like, just an example, like the Baltimore Ravens, where I could lean on the run, and then I'd be like Kyler. If let's say Lamar was out for the year and you were trying to make a move or something. It just depends on fit. Kyler's not a gunslinger, and some of these guys need a gunslinger. I think Steichen might do better with Kyler.
Yeah, Kyler, Fields, someone like that.
Yeah, Fields is a potential. I mean, he's better than some of these other options, so I'm not saying he's perfect or that he's not broken, but you can't just rely on 9. You got to bring in a QB into Minnesota. J9's not.
And with Fields, like, I get he's getting to that point now where like people are going to be afraid to commit to him, but he's never had anyone that truly committed to him to like build and develop a system around him. Never had it. It's just sucked for him because I'll always believe the talent was there.
Yeah, talent's there. I mean, the Jets is probably the worst situation he could have gone to outside of the two that he had already been in. Pittsburgh never believed in him. Tomlin
screwed him. They screwed him. Yeah.
Yeah, Jets screwed him. Tomlin screwed him. The Bears screwed him. Like it's basically a Shador. I feel like Fields got the Shador treatment his entire career. And people can always point back to he's horrible at throwing the ball, can't read a defense, but there's no way Fields is not better than some of the options that some teams are going to have to resort to, or at least equal and see what happens. If you're telling me that J9's better than Fields, you don't know ball. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, damn it. Sick Nasty's out there. Unless you're Sick Nasty. Sick Nasty knows ball. But, shit. Sick Nasty, I apologize. I did it. I wasn't aiming that at him, and he is the one caveat. Because Sick Nasty, he's got an extra, attraction to that situation, and I respect it. But Fields is definitely a potential putty that's still out there to kind of shape, but he's starting to harden. And, at some point, you're not going to be able to shift him around.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks,
two mules. No one's paying attention to what you're saying anymore because everything I say, you just go against me, no matter what it is. So no one's even paying attention anymore. And I got to ask you the question, why you're even here? Because everything I say, it's just nonstop disagreement. Everything. You disagree with the whole point of the show, the premise of the show. Hampton's garbage. Hampton just barely makes it into my top 20. He wishes he was good as Manungai. Like you're just a constant what do you call it? Anti.
I remember he was calling Scattaboo a bum earlier in the year too. So I remember.
Hey, Mule. The sun rises every day, and then it sets. No, it doesn't. The world's flat, and we're spinning. All right. Travis, I'll see you tonight, possibly. I think I'll go live. I can't guarantee I'll be live tonight, but we'll see.
Yeah, thanks, Smitty. Feel better.
All right, later. Thanks. Yeah, no, you were just sick too, Travis, so you feel better. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate all of you. Make sure you get on over to the 24/7 live chat Patreon. That is, link is in the description of the video. Again, the big board and little board are out on Underdog, promo code Smitty. Please hit that link in the description. Play 5, get 75. Underdog will match your first deposit 50% all the way up to $1,000. So use code Smitty or the link in the description, which enters code Smitty for you. And don't forget to get on over to my 24/7 365 updated constant rankings, trade calculators, my website, thefantasyfootballshow.com. I've been doing this for, some of you were in diapers when I got into the industry, and I've been doing it ever since. 20 years of radio while I did content like this. I've never stopped doing content. This is the bread and butter, essentially, the backbone of what I've done for 25 years, whatever. So this site's been there for 25. This trade calculator has been there since I invented it in the industry back in the 2002, 2003 territory. So go get your 365 24/7 content at thefantasyfootballshow.com. See you later. Live at 8 p.m. Eastern every single Monday through Friday. Live whenever big news breaks, and live at midnight Eastern almost every single night. I don't know if I'll be live tonight at midnight Eastern. I'll try. So hang tight on that. Thank you, Blitzen. Appreciate you.